Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and we have a major account milestone today, but we sacrificed a lot to do it. So I want to kind of break that down. We're going to talk about was it worth it or not, where am I heading, show you guys some of the footage from today, and just kind of, talk a little bit about what this means moving forward for me, right? How do I anticipate reacting to stuff like this in the future? So, we're going to just kind of roll some footage here. We're going to go over to a YouTube video where we start talking about the era battle. As you guys know, we have Oppo at Relic 9 already, and we're going to be kind of watching this video and seeing what we do with that. However, I want to give a shout out to our channel members, as always, for their continued support. If you're ever interested, there's a link below, along with a link to our Discord server. Make sure you go check it out. Thank you to my members again for everything you do for me through good, bad, thick, thin, disagreeing with me on the raid, and, agreeing with me on it, thinking I'm mad, whatever the case is. You guys are the best, and I really appreciate all your, support. So let's get in here, and let's show you guys some Nightfall battle footage with another character alongside Oppo. Spoiler alert. Alright, so we're going to roll some YouTube footage here because I realized that my sound settings were all messed up when I started recording this. So this video is 46 minutes long of just footage of the Nightfall era battle. So it's me just kind of introducing everything. So, you see that we've got our shards for CX2 there. So I was hoping to get some from this. I did not. So I just ended up buying the spending the crystals to get CX2. I could have done this. I should have done this last month, but I'm an idiot. So we go ahead here and we're like, you know what? Time to make CX2 rock here, right? Time to get this guy up and running. So we took CX2 all the way to stupid levels here, and I'm going to be skipping through this video a lot because there's a lot of footage and I don't expect you guys to sit here for this long on just a regular video. CX2 fully Relic 9, right? We are set to go there. So there we go. We're thanking the channel members right now. All right, so let's get into our footage here. So I bring in my Oppo, my CX2, and I did go create mod sets for both of these characters. I wanted to make sure that we had mod sets for both of them. So we stole mods from a bunch of different units here. That was definitely something that I wanted to make sure that we did. And then, of course, let's go to our playback speed and just make this ×2. All right, let's make this a little bit faster because there's a lot of stuff to go over here. So phase 1 here, I'm on the highest tier. I just would auto basic phase 1, right? We would literally just auto basic phase 1 and move on with my life, So this is what I was doing. I was trying to pay some attention to this just because I didn't want to go into phase 2 while still on auto basic. So I did kind of change that up. So then with Shaak Ti here, again, we're trying to, get through her. And you guys will see like a couple different instances where like I get good RNG on this or I don't time it up. So, we're just trying to go through here and see if we can get these tiers done, right? So again, we're working through this. We're trying to get all of this done. And it's not always pretty. But, we're surviving, right? I do have to say CX2 does make this a lot easier because he can stop buffs with Order 66. So that does stop Shaak Ti from getting that, crit hit immunity. So we're through that a lot faster. And then, we're here to Keller and Beck. Which for me, on my other tier, this was always the hardest one to get through for me. Like, it just was so stupid. So now we are here, and you can see the damage from the clones is actually really nice. Like, Oppo is hitting hard, and there we go. Get the Order 66 from CX2. It is really, really nice. So yeah, we're moving through, and it's nice that like they get some protection up. There's a lot of just really good things in these kits that we'll kind of talk about in other videos and things. We've got so much to cover. I can't keep up with all of this stuff. But this again was my first attempt of me just kind of going through this and trying to figure out, all right, how do we get here? So there we're finally about to kill Keller and Beck and get to Jocasta for the first time. So I land disarm on her, and then we just start trying to throw abilities. I don't really have a strategy. I don't have a major plan. We're just like, all right, how do we do this? I do have to say with her, Order 66 and buff immunity are crucial, along with any healing immunity. Anything we can land on her, any kind of debuffs are well worth it. And you guys see she's got all those buffs kind of blocking the way, and that just doesn't bode well for us because she just outpaces our CX2, so she constantly keeps her defense up and stuff, and she's constantly healing, and so Lord Vader goes bye-bye, and then we just go bye-bye eventually. Because she kills Oppo, and then that's bad news bears for CX2. Even with his increased mastery, she eventually just destroys him. So we try this a few more times, right? We are trying this a few more times. We're working through just some of the RNG and things. We're like, all right, how do we do this? And, it's not ever very pretty. We're trying, right? We're trying, but you can just tell, like, some of the runs, you're like, oh, man, I had her close, and then things just go south really quick. Like, there goes Lord Vader, and then that's, game, set, match here. I was like, oh, man, I'm kind of close, if I can dodge enough, and then she just does that. Like, that was the tail of the tape, in my opinion, was just kind of constantly, having that go on. So we're in for another whole attempt here where we're just trying our best to get this stuff going, and it's not pretty. And like, if you guys can tell, like, again, it's on YouTube, so like I'd already pre-recorded all of this stuff, and so I'm like doing work and other things, like I've got all this other stuff going on because I'm just trying to like figure out, all right, am I gonna get through this? And I'm like regretting so many life decisions at this point. And I have to give a shout out to Egnards, because I did kind of consult with him before this, and I was like, yo, do you think it would be worth it from like a resource standpoint to spend them this way? And he was like, yes, as long as you can get to the relic, as long as you can get to all the tiers, spending those crystals was worth it. So like, I'm sitting here kind of regretting every decision because I'm like, gosh, I really need to get through all of these tiers or else I'm an idiot. And I just wasted 4,000 crystals to participate in an event that is going to get me no rewards. So yeah, we're trying to, like, I'm like, all right, come on, I've got to get through this. Lord Vader, he ain't looking too hot here against Keller and Beck. I'm like, oh, man. Like, this is definitely a really, really challenging event. So there we lead off against Jocasta, and we're like, all right, let's try and get this. Let's try and get this going here. I get the speed up off of her. And one thing I did notice is that speed down from CX2 was really helpful on her at times of just slowing her down. You really do have to just kind of slow her down. So here she goes, right? So she's back to her thing. So we've got to kind of work as fast as we can to get this going. And at times you're like, man, it looks really good. And other times you're like, oh man, this is not good. So there's our speed down, and we're starting. This is where I'm like, oh man, like we're cooking. And then like she's back to full health and protection, and you're just like, oh, I hate my life. But you keep advancing, and then she just destroys LV. So that's never fun, right? So then we're on to another attempt at this tier, right? Gotta love the next attempt at this tier, right? Gotta love it. So we're here with Keller and Beck, and we skipped quite a bit of that because, again, and you're here fighting Keller and Beck for a while. I wish mine had this much max health. So then we're here again against Jocasta, and again it's, all right, we're just praying that we can get through this. And the hard thing is, like, you can't land enough dots on her to get Order 66 with your Oppo, so you do have to like rely on Order 66 with CX2, which isn't the worst thing, but it does take a little bit longer. So she gets her rifle, but because she's got Order 66 there, she wasn't gaining buffs, and then we're able to start getting those on her there. So we moving through, and then we get our healing immunity on her there, which was nice. We get some more buffs on her, and then we're just able to eventually kind of whittle her down here. And damage immunity, she throws the rifle, and we get everyone to survive. That is a successful tier 9 completion of this era battle. I was pretty pumped about that. I should have... Let me go back and hold on. Let me play... Let me go back here a sec. I want to show you guys my legit reaction to this. So here's like the YouTube, right, with the thing. So you guys can see my like reaction there in the, like, just by myself. This is so bad. This is an insight into what it's like when I'm playing something and I like do it like I'm like freaking out there, so happy in my basement by myself. Like, Oh, that's so bad. That's so shameful. But, here we are, right? So then we do tier 5, right? So I go to tier 5 and I'm like, all right, like this should be, easy. No, it's not. Look, I literally left my computer. Tier 5, we were not able to do on auto. So I had to all right, I've got to manually play this. And it feels easier through some of the earlier tiers. But I'll tell you what, that through some of the later tiers, it's no joke. All right, so we keep kind of pushing through, and I'm like, all right, we've got to beat Jocasta. I've got to get through. I can't just have tier 9 and not be able to beat tier 5. So we're pushing through, right? We're trying to get through as many of these as we can. And I guess did I skip? Oh, no, there we go. All right, we're here. There's Jocasta. I think this is it. We're still fighting this tier. So we're moving through everything. We are, actively fighting this girl, and I'm getting more and more PO'd at every single second that I can't beat this tier 5 tier. So there, we've got our healing. Again, that healing immunity, Order 66, speed down are so crucial to just keeping you going in these tiers. And the nice thing is that, when your buffs dispel, you're gaining mastery, which means Oppo starts dealing more damage. And that's kind of how you end up just winning these is, just eventually kind of working through all of the crap that she has here. So, get this going. And I'm like, all right, can we finally, am I getting closer? I'm getting nervous here because I'm like, oh man, we're losing the Nightfall. And then she throws the rifle, and look, it's just CX2 that survives there. It's literally just CX2 that survives 1 star on the Relic 8 tier. So then I go to the Relic 5 tier, whatever this is, right? The one that I couldn't beat before with just Oppo. And I'm like, all right, this should be a little bit easier. And it definitely, I will say, I could definitely tell that I was down in each tier. Right? Look, she kills CX2 there, which I was like, what the heck? She literally kills CX2, which was so stupid. And then she destroys everybody. So I'm like, all right, I guess I've got to try that again. But it, second time here, as you guys can tell, we're probably getting close to the end of the video. This attempt, we are successful at beating her. Again, it's crazy how she does target CX2 quite a bit. But it is, again, you just mod him for a crazy amount of speed, survivability if you can. I did offense too, just to try and get any extra damage out there on that team. But again, you guys will see that we're eventually just successful. And disarm against her, I gotta say the disarm is really, really important. So she throws the rifle, everybody survives, and we're good to go there. So overall, what did I sacrifice? I sacrificed 4,000 crystals, but what did we gain? Well, we gained another Relic 9C, another 9 Clone Trooper, right? We did get our droid brains. We got all those resources, which is really nice. Those resources are going to be really, really important because that's going to carry into each era battle here. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's a lot of resources. For 4,000 crystals, I feel that I got my money's worth, all my crystal worth from those already, let alone when I do this again in a week before CX2 or a week or two before CX2 is farmable fully. I'll probably get shards next week. That's kind of the way that this stuff works, right? I'll probably get all CX2 shards because I got Oppo shards this time. But, I felt good about it. I do have them modded now, and I will say I did save their mod loadouts. I don't think I saved their mod loadouts that I used. Maybe I did. So I'll make sure that I share all of that. Yeah, I will make sure that I share their mod loadouts with you guys so you can kind of hit the required numbers that you need to hit. Because that will make, I will say that will make a pretty big difference in, your account. And I think what's funny, right, just notice, I have, 54 offense on Oppo here with a offense set. And I've got only 10% less on CX2 with a speed set. So the CX2 mods, now I did use offense primaries there. And over here, I've got a, critical damage. But I do have a lot of extra offense on CX2, which I did think helped just a little bit in kind of ramping it up. Now, finally closing thoughts here. Obviously, I sacrificed a lot. There's a lot of time spent doing that. A lot of crystals. But it is going to prepare me. Again, it's another step for me getting closer to having those dark side clones ready for the Order 66 raid, which is happening ever so, closer and closer. The bigger thing that I would say why I'm happy with that as well is, in case you hadn't noticed, I still had to do the Omicron here for CX2, right? Which is a 3v3 Grand Arena Omicron. This is a milestone for me because I've never had a 3v3 only Omicron. And so that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the first 3v3 Omicron equipped on the FatFill account. And I did want to have that going into 3v3 so I could have this team. I don't know that I'll have a great Datacron for them going into this, but I will at least be able to utilize the Lord Vader team in some capacity. That was definitely a hole in my account in the last 3v3 season, and obviously for 5v5 it's a hole, but with CX2, I am hoping that I'll be able to get a little bit more use out of this team, even in 5v5, bringing it on offense and actually beating some higher quality teams. So you guys let me know if you enjoyed this video. Kind of a break from some of the other stuff, but a lot of fun all the same. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I love you all. May the Force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.